10th grade, good morning, welcome back. Today we are going to continue, we still learn Unit 1. This is the part or the last lesson of Unit 1. We are talking today about a novel, The title of his novel is Around the World in 80 Days in Arabic. حول العالم في 80 يوما. Now, before that, what's a novel? What's a novel? What's a novel? A novel. A novel is a long story. الرواية قصة طويلة. In this novel, يعني why it's a novel? Because we have characters, شخصيات. We have characters, شخصيات. مين اللي بيعمل الأحداث؟ الكاركترز، الشخصيات. We have two main characters in this novel. We have Mr. Fogg, Mr. Phileas Fogg, and his servant Passepartout. His servant. Okay, we have two main characters, Mr. Fogg and his servant Passepartout. They are traveling around the world. Where did the idea of traveling around the world came from? منين اجت فكرة لف حول العالم؟ Mr. Fogg lived in London. We have to know the time and the place of the novel. The time. The time is 100 years ago. قبل 100 سنة. The time is 100 years ago. The place is London. Mr. Fogg lives in London. Mr. Fogg lives in London. So we call it the setting of the novel. What is the setting? Time and place. Time and place. Before 100 years ago, was it easy to travel around the world? كان من السهل انك تسافر حول العالم? No, it was difficult. Can you travel around the world in 80 days? تقدر تلف حول العالم في 80 يوما? You remember that in those days there were no planes. ما في طائرات. اليوم بالطائرة بتلف حول العالم في 24 ساعة. But at that time you can only use a ship or a train. القطار you can use a trip or a train. Now, so a novel is a long story. We have the characters, two main characters, Mr. Fogg and his servant Passepartout. What are the events? أحداث. يعني actions. What happens? Mr. Fogg is a very rich man. He has a lot of money. He needs a servant. Passepartout is not English. He is French. What was his job before? He was an acrobat. He was an acrobat. Where? In a circus. كان يعمل acrobat. تعرف البهلوان البنط وين؟ في السيرك. A circus. He was an acrobat in a circus. مين هذا؟ Passepartout, the servant of Mr. Fogg. Mr. Fogg used to go to a club, النادي. At that club, he used to sit with his friends and talking about the world. At that time, a robber stole 55,000 pounds from Central Bank of London. حرامي سرق 55,000 pounds from the Central Bank of London. And the detective means secret police. البوليس السري is following him around the world. So the first time around the world come here from the club. Now these two men, Mr. Fogg and his friend Stewart, made a bet. رهان. Can you travel around the world in 80 days? Can you travel around the world in 80 days? If you can do that, I will give you 20,000 pound. بعطيك 20,000 pound. If you travel around the world, I give you 20,000 pound. But if you came late, even 4 hours, حتى لو ساعات, you will give me the 20,000. That's the bit. So from here came the idea of traveling around the world in 80 days. Mr. Fag accepted the bid, قبل الرهان, and he started the journey, الرحلة. Where? Around the world. He started from London and he will end at London. سيبدأ من لندن وينتهي في لندن. For 80 days. 80 days. 80 يوما. That's the story. That's the story. You find the story in your books at page number 16. Page number 16. This is the first part. We divided the novel into parts to make it easy for you. قسمنا الرواية لأجزاء مشان يسهل دراستها. At the end of each unit we'll have found a part. This is part number 1. هذا القسم الأول من النوفل اللي هي Around the World in 80 Days. Around the World in 80 Days. Look at the page. You have highlighted words. كلمات مضاعة بالأصفر. These are the new words. Some of them new, the other is you already known. Like exactly. بالضبط. Exactly. Circus acrobat كتبناها. Circus acrobat. بهلوان في السيرك. At the club they used to play cards. بيلعبوا الشدة. ورق الشدة. Now, a detective. A secret police. The station. محطة. And the journey. اللي هي الرحلة. The journey around the world. These are the new words. So, please read the passage. Again, at home. Prepare for the new vocabulary. And I will discuss it tomorrow at the following lesson. Only I am going to give you an idea. What else? Novel. رواية. اللي بكتب الرواية novelist. Can you give me the name of a famous Egyptian or Arabic novelist? اسم روائي عربي مشهور. He won the Nobel Prize. فاز بجائزة نوبل عن الآداب الارتس. Do you know his name? No. Why? Najib Mahfoud, one of the best of Arab novelists. طيب, some of his novels, أسماء بعض الروايات تبعه: بداية ونهاية، زكاك المدق، القاهرة 30، كايرو 30، وآخر رواية اللي أخذ عليها الجائزة أولاد حارتنا. طيب, foreign novelists، روائيين عالميين. Did you hear about Ernest Hemingway? Did you hear about Tolstoy? Did you hear about Victor Hugo, Russian? So, all these are novelists. Novel, رواية. What is it? Long story. مين كتبها؟ novelist. بدك تعرف عن الرواية. Characters, شخصيات. بدك تعرف setting, time and place. وقتيش وين. When did it happen and where? Our novel, the place of it is London. The journey around the world. When? 100 years ago. قبل 100 سنة. 100 years ago. Okay. Did you take an idea about our novel? Please prepare the new words and read the first part. Okay? Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye for now.